What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going over 10 mobility movements that golfers should be doing every single day to help them improve in their golf game. Let's get right into it. So if y'all seen any other videos on this channel, you know that I'm all about strength and power. I think those two components are going to be the most beneficial long-term for not only your health, but for your golf game as well. We all know you do need to be mobile in the golf swing. You need to be able to go through the ranges of motion needed to hit the golf ball and be consistent with your swing. So mobility is a good thing to work in either at the end of your sessions or individually, separately from your strength and power sessions. So this ATG split squat is going to work mainly dorsiflexion. So this part of your ankle, raising that toe. That's gonna allow me to properly hinge in the golf swing and then be able to load that front hip and rotate through. But I want you to put your foot on an elevated surface. This is a good way to start progressing this movement. And I'm trying to get my knee over the toe, all right? The most important part is keeping this heel on the surface, all right? Pushing everything forward and then coming back up. Holding this movement in that range of motion. See that hip mobility that I'm working back there. The ultimate goal is to progress this down to the floor. I'll show a clip of that here, but you can do this weighted as well. Put a dumbbell on your leg and force that knee over that toe. Keep doing these, week over week, over time. That dorsiflexion is gonna improve and it's gonna help you in your golf game. So this next one is just a seated truck twist, focusing on my core, and I'm taking my hips out of play. So you're gonna need something to squeeze in between your legs, and then a broomstick, a golf club, whatever you got to put on your shoulders. And then all I'm trying to do is get nice, good posture, squeeze that block, and rotate as much as I can. So see how my hips are out of play, and I'm only focused on the core, pinning that stick up against your shoulders, because I don't want compensation there. See how I can turn my arms and not really turn my core? I want everything locked in, rotating from the core back and forth. Isolate the upper body, work on that rotation for the golf swing, 5 or 10 each side on this one. So this next movement's gonna work on my upper body, my chest mobility, my shoulder mobility, my overhead extension. It's gonna be a wall angel. Big thing here is keep everything up against the wall. So my butt, my heels, my shoulders. I'm gonna open up my hands just like this. If you have really bad external rotation, this movement's gonna be tough for you. But I'm trying to keep as much of my arms and my hands on the wall. Then I'm sliding my hands up, supposed to touch my thumbs together, and then coming right back down again, keeping as much as I can on the wall. If your movement kind of looks like this, that's okay. Something on the wall is better than nothing. Still raise up as high as you can. If you can't touch your thumbs, just raise your arms straight up and then right back down. But over time, you're gonna get some improvement in this movement. I've got another video that works on chest flexibility and external rotation. I'm gonna link that at the top. Start working those, and then you might be able to progress to this. But doing these every single day is going to help that rotation in the backswing, getting that club up, external rotation in the shoulder, and then helping you with your follow through in the golf swing. So the rest of these movements are gonna be from the ground. So find you somewhere comfortable to sit. We're gonna start with what's called a 90-90 hip. So the goal here is to get both legs in a 90-degree angle. Once I get them to 90 degrees, I want to rotate them across and then bring them in another 90-90 degree position. Ultimate goal is to do this with no hands, kind of like I'm doing right now. All right, but a good progression is to start with your hands back behind you here. So keeping the heels on the ground, rotating back and forth. If you can't get both knees to the ground, that's fine. We got to start somewhere. You can also start in a no-handed position, rock back, and then once you've passed that resistance point, then you can lean forward just like that. 5 each side on the 90-90 hips, working hip internal rotation and working hip external rotation. Next one's gonna be one that you've probably already seen before, just a cat-cow. Hands and knees, working on thoracic extension and thoracic flexion. All right, big extension of the shoulder blades, squeeze the shoulder blades, working on some hip mobility. Push the hips back, lock the back in. This is beneficial for a lot of other movements in the weight room as well, especially if you don't know how to get that back locked in. All right, do these almost every single day. Next one, from that same position, I'm going thread the needle, reaching through, bending that arm, getting the back of the shoulder to the ground. Then I like to twist, but if you're not ready for that one yet, then just do the reach through. Big reach, back of the shoulder to the ground, and then you can just come back to neutral. So next one's gonna be a frog stretch. This one's really good for working that external rotation and then really just stretching out the groin and the adductors. I'm gonna get those knees as wide as I can on the ground. All right, get those feet straight back. And I'm trying to rock my hips back into that position. If you just can't get into that position, get one leg out here and then rock the entire hips back. So inside the foot down, big rock back, and then you can walk forwards. That's a good modification, or at least one to start on at the beginning, and then you can work into that full frog later on. This next one's one you've probably seen before as well. This is a wiper. I'll be on my back, hands out, and then legs at 90 degrees. All right, working more of the lower body here instead of the upper body like in the trunk rotations, but just try and get knees all the way down to the ground and see how my back hip is lifting. And then I'm rotating over. All right, try and keep your knees together here. You can use that block as well for this one. If you are struggling with this one or you have a really bad lower back, I would just skip this one and then start with the other movements that I showed you. This one's a little bit more advanced to start working on that lower back and hip mobility. Next one's gonna be a T-spine. So again, legs at 90 degrees, both hands out. And I'm trying to open up. Head follows the hands. Get as far back as I can, try and keep this arm straight. Again, if my head is not following my hands, then I'm actually not rotating how I need to rotate. I can keep my head forward and just open up my hand, but I'm not rotating the core. I'm not opening up the chest and turning at the core. So I've got to open up, big rotation. Last one's gonna be a Cobra Stretch. A good anterior chain stretch here on the ground, hips stay flat, and then just pushing my chest and my upper body up off of the ground. All right, holding that one for a little bit. I like to come back down and then reset. If you reset and do the movement again, you get a little bit more range of motion. If you're struggling with that one, you can start on your elbows. So working your way up from there. That's a good one to start with. You'd be surprised, a lot of people can't even do this one. So just start progressing, start where you're at, progress forward, and then eventually we can come up into the big Cobra Stretch, just like that. All right guys, that is it for the mobility video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you've got any questions or you've got any suggestions on different mobility movements, maybe more movements that you want to see for a particular body part or region, leave a comment down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Putting out a lot more content like this on how to help your golf game using health and fitness. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.